The Suez Canal sees a record $7 billion in revenues, and S&P is seeing a downward trend in Sukuk issuance. You're watching the Daily Brief with Forbes. I'm Ramia Faraj. Egypt's Suez Canal Authority saw an all-time revenue record, earning $7 billion during the last fiscal year, following a series of toll hikes for vessels transiting this vital waterway. Between July 2021 and June 2022, 1.32 billion tons of cargo were shipped through the canal. The income is over a fifth higher than the previous fiscal year's $5.8 billion in transit fees, and the highest figure ever. The SCA has hiked passage tolls for transiting vessels, including fuel tankers, twice this year. Total Sukuk issuance dropped to $74.5 billion in the first half of 2022, compared with $93.3 billion during the same period in 2021, both in local and foreign currency. That's according to S&P, who say shrinking global liquidity, complex regulatory standards, and lower financing needs in some core Islamic finance markets will hold back issuance for the rest of the year. S&P says it expects governments' local currency issuances to continue to support the development of domestic capital markets. Still, it forecasts total issuance of about $130 billion in 2022 versus $147.4 billion in 2021. The Saudi bourse gained 4.9% in the first half of this year compared to the same period a year ago. Tadawul's total equity market capitalization in H1 surged by 17.7% year-on-year to $3.1 trillion. The market turnover in H1, however, declined by 22.5% to $276.7 billion year-on-year. The total number of transactions executed during the first half fell 10% to 47 million. 25.3 billion shares were traded. That's down 42% from H1 2021. Inflation in Turkey in June soared to an annual rate of 78.6%, the highest in 24 years, according to government figures. But independent estimates published by Turkish economists show prices rising at more than double that figure. The inflation rate reported by Turkey's state statistics agency was the highest since it suffered a currency meltdown during a global financial crisis in 1998. Inflation had stood at 73.5% in May and at 15% at the start of last year. Meanwhile, automobile industry officials from Turkey, Iran, and Russia are considering joint car design and manufacture after sanctions on Moscow and Tehran put the brakes on production. Iran's officials say there's a great possibility of cooperation between car manufacturers and suppliers of these three countries. They say they can target a population of at least 800 million if neighboring regions are included. Russia had reportedly asked Iran in May to supply it with key components it could no longer access. Ryanair had its busiest month ever in June as the Irish carrier flew 15.9 million passengers, up from just over 5 million in the year previous. Over the month, Ryanair says it operated more than 88,500 flights. Looking ahead, the budget carrier expects to fly 15% more passengers this summer than it did in the same season in 2019. Ryanair avoided most of the disruption caused by strikes at airports in Europe, with fewer than 2% of its flights affected by these strikes. Meanwhile, EasyJet CEO Peter Bellew has resigned to pursue other opportunities, according to the carrier. EasyJet says it remains absolutely focused on its daily operations after staff shortages forced it to cut thousands of flights this summer. Time to take a look now at today's Forbes Real-Time Billionaires ranking. It tracks the daily ups and downs of the world's richest people. Our biggest winner today is Bernard Arnault and family, up $2.4 billion with net wealth of $148.3 billion. Our second biggest winner today is pork billionaire Qin Yinglin, up $2.1 billion with net wealth of $25 billion. And our third place winner is aquafeed and new energy billionaire Liu Hanyuan, up $1.6 billion with net wealth of $18.3 billion. Check out our website and our social media for all of the latest Billionaires news. The British Army has launched an investigation into a breach of its Twitter and YouTube accounts. Hackers posted about NFTs and cryptos on these accounts. The British Army's official Twitter account retweeted posts promoting NFTs, while videos about cryptos featuring Elon Musk were uploaded to its YouTube account. Officials say all NFT and crypto content has now been removed. It's still unclear who's behind the hack. Ramya Faraj. This is the Daily Brief. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.